The Bible and archaeology agree that ancient Israelites had several healthcare options at their disposal. The first that we come across in the Bible was likely the most common: herbal remedies. Much like today's healthcare traditions, like to have hot water, lemon, and honey for a sore throat, ancient Israelites had their own natural remedies that were likely their first line of defense against ailment. We see, for example, mandrake root being used as a fertility treatment in Genesis, and a soothing balm sourced in Gilead is referenced. Prayer was another option. An example of direct prayer to God is found in 2 Kings 20, when King Hezekiah, faced with his own mortality, prayed to God for healing. Prayer could also take place at the tent tabernacle, or later in history at the Temple of Solomon. Consider the prayer of Hannah, who received her healing at the door of the tabernacle. We know from the Mosaic Law that the priests and Levites were given regulations on how to deal with certain infections and molds, so this should also be seen as a type of healthcare that linked God with the physical well-being of his covenant people. An interactive option in Israel and Judah was healing through a prophet of God. While it's likely that many prophets of God healed, Elijah and Elisha are the most famous healing prophets in the Old Testament. They provided options and answers even to foreigners who had come in search of health. Prophets of God were not the only holy men who offered healing. It's well known that there were physicians and healers who offered practical and spiritual advice while being sponsored by this or that deity. Entire temples have been found dedicated to these healing gods. How connected the advice of the healers was with the pagan temples remains uncertain, but there is a reference in the Bible to at least one king of Jerusalem turning to physicians like these rather than to God. With the knowledge that some physicians were sponsored by pagan deities, the chastisement of King Asa makes a lot more sense. Asa's mistake was not in looking for an answer to his health problem. His mistake was looking solely to the physicians, rather than to God or even the prophets of God that he had at his disposal. Asa had chosen where his allegiance was, and it wasn't in the covenant he was supposed to be upholding as king.